How to ask I am to get anything you want in life, the Lester Nivardi wife. There is a power within you that has never left you, a voice that quietly whispers every time you say the words I am. It is the creative force that shaped the stars, breathed life into you, and continues to write every chapter of your story. Most people wander through life unaware that the very name of this power lies on their own lips. Every time you declare, I am, you are not speaking as a limited being, but as the author of your destiny. The world around you is only a reflection of what you claim yourself to be. You are not waiting for life to give you anything. Life is waiting for you to declare who you are. To ask I am is not to beg or plead. It is to recognize that the universe listens to the tone of your consciousness, not the words of your mouth. When you say, I am worthy, I am loved, I am successful, you awaken the sleeping giant within you, the divine self that responds instantly to your assumption of being. Every moment you affirm something about yourself, you plant a seed in the invisible garden of creation. And like any seed, it must grow according to the nature of what was planted. The question then is not whether your desires will come true. It is, what are you claiming yourself to be? This speech is not about trying to reach something outside of you. It's about remembering the truth that has always been within. The power you seek to change your life does not come from effort, struggle, or time. It comes from the quiet knowing that your words are law, that your inner state is the script of your future. When you understand how to ask I am, you no longer chase after things, you call them forth by being. You no longer wish for change, you become it. You no longer look for signs, your life itself becomes the sign. Today, let this message sink deep into your consciousness. I am is the key to all manifestation. It is the doorway between the invisible and the visible, between thought and form, between the dream and its realization. Once you master how to ask I am, nothing will be withheld from you, because you will have aligned yourself with the source of all creation itself. The secret name of power. I am. There is a name of infinite power that every human being carries, a sacred vibration that has existed before time began. It is the name spoken by creation itself, the name I am. These two simple words are the most powerful words you will ever speak, because whatever follows them becomes your reality. Hidden within this phrase lies the secret of all manifestation, the key to the invisible laws that govern your life. Every desire, every success, every transformation begins when you understand the true meaning of I am. It is not merely a statement of identity. It is the creative declaration of being itself. When you say I am, you are not describing yourself, you are defining reality. Most people use these words casually, unaware that they are shaping the structure of their own experience. Every complaint that begins with I am tired, I am broke, or I am unlucky, sends forth a command to the unseen power that governs all things. The universe does not hear your pleas, it hears your declarations. Whatever you attach to I am, you call into existence. That is why the wise throughout time have guarded their words, for they knew that speech is not empty. It is creative energy. To say I am is to stir the divine within you into motion, to summon the unseen forces that obey the consciousness from which all things spring. Think for a moment about the life you are living now. Every condition, every relationship, every opportunity or limitation is the visible expression of your inner use of I am. You have always been creating, consciously or unconsciously, by claiming certain things to be true about yourself. If you say, I am confident, your world will mirror that confidence. If you say, I am unlucky, that too becomes your truth. You can trace every circumstance in your life back to an inner statement of identity. This is why transformation begins not with effort, but with recognition. You must recognize who you truly are and claim it from within. To understand I am is to understand that you are not a victim of life, but the creator of it. The outer world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Life has no power of its own. It only reflects the consciousness you radiate. Every event is neutral until you define it through the lens of I am. When you say, I am afraid, you breathe life into fear. When you say, I am strong, you invite strength to take form. You are always calling forth an image of yourself, and the universe obeys your call perfectly. The ancients taught this truth in symbols and stories. They spoke of a hidden name of God that held the power to create or destroy, a name so sacred it could not be spoken lightly. That name has never been lost. It has been whispered by every soul since the beginning. It is the name on your own tongue every time you say I am. This is the name that parts the seas of limitation, raises the dead hopes within you, and commands the mountains of fear to move. The creative power of the universe is not somewhere above the clouds. It is present within your consciousness right now. When you awaken to that truth, you will realize that you never need to search for power again. You are the power. So how do you use this truth? You begin by becoming conscious of what follows your I am. Every thought, every emotion, every statement that begins with those words must be watched carefully, for you are writing the script of your life. When you feel lack, do not say, I am poor, for that is a lie spoken against your divine self. Instead, affirm, I am abundant, even if your outer world denies it. When you feel lonely, do not claim, I am alone, for that keeps you in isolation. Say instead, I am surrounded by love, and you will see life begin to shift in subtle, miraculous ways. The outer world must obey the inner truth you persist in believing. This practice requires discipline, for the mind is easily tempted by appearances. The senses will try to convince you that you are limited, that you are not enough, that your dreams are too far away. But the moment you remember the secret name of power, you reclaim your authority. You do not beg for what you want, you become it in consciousness. You do not wait for the evidence, you declare it within yourself first. To say, I am healed, I am blessed, or I am free, is to plant seeds in the fertile soil of imagination. Persist in this awareness until your inner knowing becomes stronger than the outer noise, and soon the invisible will crystallize into visible fact. When you live in this awareness, prayer becomes different. It is no longer asking an external force to intervene, it is communion with your own divine being. To pray is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to rest in the certainty that I am has heard and answered. You do not need to see immediate results, for you know that the unseen is already moving in your favor. Time may be required for the invisible to take form, but the creative act is complete the moment you assume the state of I am it. The rest is simply the unfolding of what already exists within. Every great life story began with an I am. The person who said, I am successful. Long before the world saw their success, the one who said, I am healed. When the body still felt pain, the one who said, I am blessed. When the evidence pointed otherwise. These were not delusional, they were creators in action. They understood that reality begins in consciousness. Their faith was not blind, it was vision. The vision of truth unseen by the ordinary eye, but known by the awakened heart. There will come a moment when you truly feel the power of these words. It will not be intellectual, it will be a deep knowing, a vibration that moves through your entire being. You will realize that every time you speak, you are calling creation into being. You will stop using I am to describe your limitations and start using it to command your destiny. From that moment, fear will lose its hold, because you will know that nothing can stand against the name of power within you. So today, as you listen and reflect, begin to take responsibility for every I am you utter. Speak with intention, think with awareness, feel with faith. Stand in the authority of your divine identity. Declare what you wish to be and refuse to contradict it with doubt or fear. The world will test your conviction, but the power within you is greater than any challenge outside of you. Remember always, the words I am are your connection to the infinite. Guard them, honor them, and use them wisely. For when you declare I am, you awaken the Creator, and the Creator always answers. Desire is the voice of the divine within. Every desire that rises within you is not a random impulse, nor a selfish craving born of the human mind. It is the whisper of the divine, the gentle voice of your higher self calling you toward expansion. Desire is the language of creation speaking through you, guiding you to express the infinite possibilities that already exist within your consciousness. You are not a being chasing after fulfillment, you are fulfillment unfolding itself through form. When a new longing appears in your heart, it is life itself seeking a greater revelation of who you are. You did not create the desire created you, or more accurately, it awakened a deeper part of you that was ready to be expressed. Most people have been taught to mistrust their desires, to see them as distractions or temptations, but that is a misunderstanding born of fear and limitation. True desire is sacred. It is the pulse of the universe moving through your soul. It is not about greed, it is about becoming. The desire to love, to create, to succeed, to heal, to experience joy. These are not human ambitions, they are divine intentions clothed in human form. The same energy that moves the tides, that spins the planets, that paints the sunsets, is the energy that beats in your heart when you say, I want more out of life. To listen to that voice is to listen to God within you. When you feel desire, it is a sign that a new version of yourself is being born. The very moment you long for something greater, it already exists in the unseen realm. Desire is the evidence of potential, the invisible promise that what you seek is already prepared for you. Just as a seed contains the full image of the tree within it, your desire carries the full manifestation of its fulfillment. You are simply called to nurture it, to believe in it, to assume that what you want is already yours in consciousness. The universe does not tease you with dreams it cannot fulfill. The desires of your heart are not accidents. They are divine blueprints for the life you are meant to live. Think of your desires as messages from the higher dimension of your being. When you say, I desire abundance, the infinite within you is saying, I am ready to express myself as abundance. When you say, I desire love, it means the divine is seeking to reveal itself as love through your experience. To reject your desires is to silence the voice of your own soul. To embrace them with faith is to cooperate with the creative flow of life. The moment you honor your desire as something sacred, everything around you begins to align to fulfill it. People, places, opportunities, and even timing adjust themselves to the vibration of your assumption. But here lies the great secret. You must not confuse desire with yearning. Yearning says, I want, but I do not have. Desire says, I am ready to express what I already am. One separates you from your good, the other unites you with it. The key is to feel the fulfillment of your desire now, not someday. When you feel that your wish is already accomplished, you activate the law of assumption, the creative principle that brings the invisible into form. The universe mirrors your inner state. If you feel lack, it gives you more lack. If you feel completeness, it reflects completeness. So the art of asking I am begins with understanding that desire is not something to chase, it is something to embody. Close your eyes for a moment and think of something you truly desire. Now, instead of wishing for it, imagine how it feels to already have it. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude. See yourself living it, breathing it, being it. That feeling is the creative act itself. You have just given your desire a heartbeat in the invisible. The more you dwell in that feeling, the more alive it becomes, until the outer world has no choice but to match it. This is not fantasy, it is divine law. You cannot long for something that does not already exist within you. The presence of the desire means the fulfillment is already part of your consciousness. You need only claim it by assumption. Desire, when understood spiritually, is not about possessions, but about expression. The universe desires through you because you are its instrument of creation. Your dream of success is not about money, it is about the divine expressing abundance through your individuality. Your dream of love is not about another person, it is about God expressing unity and beauty through your heart. Your desire for purpose is not about status, it is about consciousness awakening to itself through service. When you see desire this way, guilt dissolves, struggle fades, and creation becomes effortless. You stop trying to make things happen and begin allowing them to unfold through your alignment with I am. Every time you resist a desire by saying, it's impossible, or I'm not worthy, you are arguing with your higher self. The voice of doubt is the echo of separation, but the voice of desire is the whisper of unity. The moment you declare, I am ready, the universe begins to rearrange itself to fulfill that readiness. This is why you must treat your desires with reverence, not as fantasies, but as instructions from your own divine nature. Life is not testing you, it is responding to you. When you align your feeling with your desire, you enter a state of harmony with creation itself. The power of desire lies not in wanting, but in being. If you can feel the essence of your desire as though it were real right now, you are already living in the vibration of its manifestation. The outer conditions will follow. They must, because consciousness is cause, and the physical world is its shadow. You are not meant to suppress your desires or postpone your joy until the evidence appears. You are meant to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to walk as though it were already done. In doing so, you awaken the divine within you that knows no limits, no delays, no impossibilities. The truth is simple yet profound. Desire is the movement of God through man. It is infinite potential seeking expression through form. To ask I am for anything is simply to acknowledge that what you seek already exists in your consciousness. When you align with that truth, desire becomes not a cry for help, but a song of creation. You begin to understand that your role is not to force, but to allow, not to strive, but to believe. You stand in faith not because you see results, but because you know the results are inevitable once you have assumed the feeling of being what you desire. So let this message take root in your heart. The next time a new desire stirs within you, do not push it away. Welcome it as the voice of your divine nature speaking. Listen to it, feel it, claim it. And then say within yourself, I am that. Not I will be, not I hope to be, but I am. Let that declaration settle into your awareness until it becomes your natural state of being. For when you unite your desire with the words I am, heaven and earth move as one to bring it forth. Every great manifestation begins this way, not with effort, but with alignment, not with asking, but with knowing. Desire is the divine impulse of expansion, the inner call of the infinite seeking form through you. When you understand that your desires are not separate from God, but are God's way of expressing through you, you will never again doubt your worthiness to receive. You will see that to desire is to create, to feel is to manifest, and to declare I am is to command the universe to fulfill itself through you. The art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when mere wishing must evolve into knowing, when desire must give birth to faith, and when longing must transform into assumption. That is the sacred moment of creation, the moment you dare to feel what you want as though it were already yours. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not a mental trick, nor an exercise in imagination alone. It is the very act by which all creation takes place. Everything that exists, every success, every healing, every miracle, was first born as a feeling, as a state of being assumed so completely that it had no choice but to appear in form. To assume is to claim inwardly what the outer world has not yet confirmed. It is to close your eyes to appearances and open them to truth. It is to say within yourself, I am, even when the senses whisper, you are not. The outer world is always one step behind consciousness. It cannot show you what you have not yet accepted as true within yourself. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to move into the state of consciousness where your desire already exists, to live mentally in that reality until it becomes natural, until the invisible becomes inevitable. Most people live by sight, reacting to conditions and believing only what they can touch or measure. But the one who understands the law of assumption knows that the outer world is but a shadow cast by the inner state. The world does not cause your feelings cause the world. The one who waits for evidence will wait forever, but the one who assumes the feeling of fulfillment now will soon see that feeling made flesh. You are not meant to wait for your dreams. You are meant to become them inwardly until they must appear. The creative process is simple but profound. Imagine what you desire, feel it real, and persist in that feeling until it hardens into fact. You do not need to figure out how it will happen. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that governs all things. Your only work is to enter the state of the wish fulfilled and remain there. Feel the joy of answered prayer, the peace of completed desire, the satisfaction of already having received. Do not concern yourself with details or logic. The law of assumption transcends logic. It operates according to faith, not reason. It answers the conviction of your heart, not the calculations of your mind. When you assume a state, everything in your world begins to rearrange itself to mirror that assumption. People, circumstances, and even chance events bend toward the fulfillment of your inner reality. If you assume you are loved, life will show you love. If you assume you are abundant, opportunities will find their way to you. If you assume you are blessed, you will walk through life with a light upon you that others can feel but not explain. You are not creating from nothing. You are simply selecting from infinite possibilities. Every reality already exists. You enter it by assumption. But the true art lies in feeling. Thought alone is not enough. It is feeling that impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is the womb of creation. The universe responds not to words, but to vibration. To say, I am rich, while feeling poor is to create more poverty, for the dominant feeling always wins. But to feel rich, to walk, breathe, and rest in the sensation of abundance, is to command the unseen to make it visible. You cannot fool consciousness. It gives you only what you feel to be true. That is why assumption must be lived, not spoken. The question then becomes, how do you feel what is not yet seen? The answer lies in imagination, the creative power given to you as the image of the infinite. Imagination is not idle fantasy. It is the doorway between the visible and the invisible. When you close your eyes and enter the scene of your fulfilled desire, you are not escaping reality. You are shaping it. You are giving substance to that which is unseen. The more vividly you feel the reality of your imagined state, the sooner it will solidify in the physical world. Imagine with the heart, not just the mind. Let your senses participate. Feel the touch, hear the sounds, see the colors, smell the air of your fulfilled dream. Immerse yourself until it feels done. At first, your outer world may appear unchanged, but do not be deceived. The invisible has already shifted. The seed has been planted. Every assumption once persisted in must bear fruit. Time is merely the space between seed and harvest. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live from the end, not toward it. Speak, think, and act as though it were already complete, because in the unseen realm it is. When you walk in that awareness, miracles unfold naturally. Persistence is the golden key. One assumption held with unwavering faith is more powerful than 100 fleeting thoughts. The world will test your conviction, not because it is cruel, but because creation requires faith to become fact. When appearances contradict your desire, that is the moment to hold even more firmly to your inner vision. Refuse to be moved by the temporary. Stand in the truth of your assumption. Feel it real even when the senses scream otherwise. Remember always the outer must conform to the inner. It has no choice. There is a quiet power that comes when you finally assume your desire with full faith. The restless energy of wanting dissolves. The anxiety of waiting fades. You no longer chase after your dream because you are your dream. You rest in peace, knowing that creation is finished. You no longer seek, you express. You no longer wish, you know. This calm certainty is the highest form of prayer. It is not asking, it is claiming. It is not hoping, it is being. The one who assumes with love and gratitude walks through life as a creator, not a beggar. When you master this art, you discover that life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. The world becomes your mirror, faithfully reflecting the images you hold in consciousness. Change your feeling and you change your fate. Assume a new state and the old one fades away. The law does not fail, only our belief in appearances does. But once you learn to live by assumption, not by sight, you will never again doubt your power. So tonight, before you sleep, enter the silence and close your eyes to the world. Imagine yourself in the scene that would follow the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the naturalness of it. Let it be so real that you drift into sleep wearing the feeling of your fulfilled dream. In that sacred state between waking and sleeping, the subconscious is most receptive. Whatever you assume there becomes your reality. When you awaken, do not look for signs. Live as though it were done. Walk in quiet confidence. Speak with calm authority, and let your actions spring from fulfillment, not need. You will soon discover that assumption is not belief in something outside of you, but awareness of what you already are. You are not asking the universe to give you something new. You are awakening to the truth that all things exist within you now. You assume because you know. You know that consciousness creates, that feeling is the secret, and that your inner world is the blueprint of your outer life. Let this truth take root in your heart. You become what you assume yourself to be. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to unite with your desired state so completely that separation dissolves. There is no waiting, no effort, no distance. There is only I am. Say it with conviction, live it with faith, and the world will bow to your assumption. For when you feel yourself already fulfilled, you call forth the unseen into being, and heaven itself rushes to make your declaration true. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. There is a world that cannot be touched by hands or measured by eyes. A world more real than the one we walk in each day. It is the unseen realm of consciousness, the silent workshop where every event of your life is shaped long before it appears in form. Between this invisible world of imagination and the visible world of matter lies a single bridge, and that bridge is faith. Faith is not blind belief or empty hope. It is the inner knowing that what you have claimed in consciousness must one day take form in your outer life. It is the quiet certainty that the unseen is not unreal, but simply unexpressed. Faith is the invisible bridge that carries your desire from possibility to reality. To live by faith is to live beyond appearances. It is to understand that what you see is not all there is. The visible is the shadow of the invisible, and the unseen is the cause of the seen. When you look at your circumstances and believe them to be final, you have cut yourself off from the source of your power. But when you look at the same circumstances and declare, "This too shall pass, for I know what I am within," you walk the path of the Creator. Faith is the refusal to let the outer world dictate your inner knowing. It is standing still in the storm and saying, "I know who I am, and I know what I have assumed." And every great change begins with faith. It begins with an idea unseen by others, a conviction that lives silently in the heart before the evidence appears. The greatest inventions, the greatest works of art, the greatest transformations all started as unseen visions believed in by one who refused to doubt. Faith is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. Without it, your desires remain dreams. With it, they become destiny. You cannot bring the unseen into form through effort alone. Only through faith do you cross that sacred bridge. Faith is not about forcing the universe to act. It is about resting in the knowing that it already has. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and hold it with unwavering belief, faith becomes your resting place. You no longer question how or when, because faith does not concern itself with time. It knows that creation is already complete. You are simply walking the bridge between what is already true in consciousness and what is soon to appear in form. This is why faith is called the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For it is the invisible assurance that what you feel within must one day be visible without. To live by faith is to trust the unseen more than the seen. It is to believe in your assumption even when every sense denies it. It is to look at lack and declare abundance, to feel love in the face of loneliness, to see health in the midst of pain. Faith is the courage to remain loyal to your unseen reality until it becomes visible. It is the bridge that connects you to your answered prayer. Without faith, you remain on the shore of longing. With faith, you walk into the land of fulfillment. The moment you declare, I am, you have begun to build that bridge. Every thought of belief adds strength to it, every doubt weakens it. When you persist in faith, no matter what appearances suggest, you anchor yourself in the unseen cause. The world may call it madness, but creation has always been born of those willing to believe the invisible more than the visible. The one who waits to see before believing will forever remain waiting, but the one who believes before seeing commands life itself. Faith is not passive. It is not sitting idly and wishing for something to happen. True faith is active, living, and dynamic. It moves mountains because it moves consciousness. To have faith is to embody your desire to think, speak, and act as though it were already true. It is not pretending, it is knowing. Pretending says, I hope this works. Faith says, it is done. When you live in this certainty, every action you take becomes inspired, every step you make is guided, and the universe responds with precision. Many people confuse faith with effort. They believe they must struggle to prove their belief, but faith requires no struggle. Faith is rest, the kind of rest that comes from knowing the end from the beginning. It is the calm assurance that creation is finished, and that your role is simply to remain faithful to the state you have assumed. When fear or doubt arise, do not fight them, simply return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Remind yourself that faith is not built on sight but on knowing. The moment you return to that inner knowing, the bridge holds firm once more. The power of faith lies in persistence. A single moment of belief can start creation, but persistent faith completes it. The law of consciousness works through continued assumption, through standing firm in what you know to be true. When appearances tempt you to waver, that is the test of faith. Every contradiction is an invitation to deepen your conviction. You are not being denied, you are being refined. You are being asked to prove that your inner reality is stronger than the outer illusion. Faith and imagination are inseparable partners. Imagination gives birth to the vision. Faith sustains it until it becomes fact. When you imagine yourself in your desired state and feel it real, you ignite creation. But it is faith that keeps the flame alive when the outer world still reflects the old story. Without faith, imagination dies in the darkness of doubt. But with faith, even a flicker of vision becomes an unstoppable light. Faith says, though I see nothing, I know everything is already done. It holds to that knowing until the outer world bends to match it. There is a sacred power in walking by faith. It gives you freedom from fear, peace in uncertainty, and strength in adversity. When you know that the unseen governs the seen, you no longer chase results, you create them inwardly. You no longer beg for answers, you become the answer. You no longer look for signs, you live as the sign. Faith allows you to rest in the divine rhythm of life, knowing that everything unfolds perfectly according to your inner conviction. To practice faith is to practice remembrance, remembering that your inner world is the cause of all things. When you wake in the morning, begin by declaring your truth, I am that I am. I am abundance. I am love. I am success. Feel those words as real, not as future hopes, but as present facts. Throughout the day, when the senses try to contradict you, return to your inner declaration. Let your faith speak louder than appearances. Say within yourself, this is only shadow, my truth is already established. The more you live from that place, the stronger your bridge becomes, and soon the unseen will step forward into visibility. Faith is the greatest gift you can cultivate, for through it, you rediscover your divine power. It is the key that unlocks every door, the light that guides every path, the bridge that connects every dream to its realization. The moment you choose to believe the unseen over the seen, you align yourself with the creative force of the universe. You become unstoppable, not because you force things to happen, but because you know they already have. So remember this truth always: faith is not waiting for proof. It is the proof. It is the invisible evidence that creation is complete. When you stand in faith, you walk between two worlds, one unseen, one seen, and your belief is the bridge that unites them. Whatever you dare to assume with faith must appear, for faith never fails. Stand firm, feel it real, and walk in the certainty that your unseen is on its way to becoming seen. The bridge is built. All you must do is cross it. Persistence in the inner conversation. There is a silent voice within you that speaks every moment of your life. It is the voice that narrates your days, explains your circumstances, and shapes your beliefs. That voice is your inner conversation, and it is far more powerful than any outer action you could ever take. Life itself is but the echo of that conversation. The world responds not to what you wish, but to what you constantly whisper within yourself. To change your world, you must first change that inner dialogue, and to sustain your change, you must learn the art of persistence in the inner conversation. The inner conversation is your unseen workshop. It is where every event, every encounter, Every circumstance of your life is first constructed. Most people let this inner voice run wild, filled with doubt, fear, and complaint. They speak within themselves of lack, rejection, and limitation, and then wonder why life mirrors those same conditions back to them. But the wise one knows that every inner word is creative, and every repeated thought becomes a decree. To persist in the right conversation is to rewrite the script of your reality. Persistence means refusing to abandon the truth of your assumption, no matter what the outer world suggests. It means continuing to affirm your desired reality within, even when everything without tells you the opposite. You see, the law of consciousness does not respond to momentary belief. It responds to sustained inner conviction. A single act of imagination plants the seed, but persistence waters it until it blooms. Just as a gardener tends daily to his field, so must you tend to your inner field of thought. Every time you repeat your inner dialogue of faith, love, and success, you strengthen the roots of your creation. Neville Goddard said, "Your inner speech mirrors your mind, and your mind mirrors your world." When you speak to yourself in harmony with your desire, you align your consciousness with that state of being. The universe has no choice but to conform. But this alignment must be held persistently, quietly, and faithfully. It is persistence that separates a fleeting wish from a manifested reality. The one who holds their inner word until it becomes flesh is the true creator. Most people speak two languages within, one of faith and one of doubt. They affirm their desire one moment and contradict it the next. This inner conflict dissolves their creative power, for divided speech cannot stand. To be persistent is to be single-minded, to dwell so deeply in your assumption that no opposing voice can shake it. It is to say within yourself, "It is done," and to let every inner word thereafter echo that truth. When the mind wanders back to fear, gently bring it home to faith. When doubt arises, remind yourself that persistence in truth is stronger than the illusion of circumstance. Understand this: the outer world is always delayed reflection. What you persist in inwardly will sooner or later take shape outwardly. This is why persistence is not merely repetition. It is loyalty to your assumption until reality conforms. Everyday life will tempt you to speak against your desire. The senses will present evidence of delay, lack, and impossibility. But persistence means holding your inner tone even through contradiction. It is in those moments that your creative power is tested. To persist when the evidence is absent is to walk as a master. Inner conversation is more than words. It is feeling clothed in thought. When you persist in a new inner dialogue, you are not just repeating phrases, you are reconditioning the feeling of being. If your desire is wealth, your inner conversation must feel prosperous. If your desire is love, your inner dialogue must feel adored. Words without feeling are empty shells, but when you persist in feeling the reality of your assumption, you begin to embody it. And the law is simple: what you embody, you express. Persistence is not struggle. It is not forcing the mind to obey. It is lovingly guiding it back to truth. Every time you notice your thoughts drifting to fear or negativity, gently return to the state you have chosen. Imagine yourself already possessing what you seek, and let your inner words agree with that image. Say within, "I am," for those two words are the seed of creation. I am healthy. I am free. I am loved. The more you persist in that silent agreement, the more natural it becomes, and what is natural must become visible. The beauty of persistence lies in its quiet power. You do not need to convince anyone, nor seek out a validation. Your inner conversation is a sacred act between you and the infinite. Each time you return to your assumption, you are aligning yourself with divine law. There is no need to rush the process, for persistence is not about speed. It is about certainty. Creation is finished. Your persistence simply brings what is finished into view. Many give up too soon. They imagine for a few days, affirm for a week, and when nothing changes, they surrender to the old story. But the law never fails, only persistence does. The moment you stop sustaining your inner vision, the old pattern reclaims its place. This is why Neville taught that persistence is the secret of all success. To persist means to live each day as though the unseen were already seen, to refuse to entertain the opposite of your desire, and to let your inner words consistently echo fulfillment. Persistence transforms imagination into embodiment. It rewires the subconscious mind, replaces old beliefs with new certainties, and compels reality to align. Every persistent assumption becomes conviction, and every conviction becomes fact. The law of consciousness does not respond to effort but to naturalness, and persistence makes the new belief natural. You do not force faith, you persist until faith becomes effortless. Listen closely: your outer conversations are only reflections of your inner ones. If you want peace in your relationships, persist in peaceful inner talk. If you desire success, persist in confident inner dialogue. Do not let the outer noise deceive you, for it is only the echo of past words. Change the inner speech, and the outer world must follow. This is not philosophy, it is law. To persist is to discipline the mind with love. It is to take every thought captive and reshape it in the image of your desire. It is to realize that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the author of it. The script of your life is written in the silence of your mind. Every time you replay the story of success, joy, and love within, you are editing your destiny. The world is your mirror. Your persistence determines what it reflects. Persistence is not about effort. It is about alignment. It is about living so deeply in the inner reality that the outer must conform. When you persist long enough, you no longer try to believe. You simply know. The knowing becomes natural, and when it is natural, it must appear. That is the beauty of persistence. It transforms belief into being. So persist even when the evidence denies it. Persist even when the mind resists. Persist even when nothing seems to move. For in persistence lies the secret of transformation. Every moment you choose to return to your desired inner conversation, you are exercising divine authority. You are commanding reality to obey the word you have spoken within, and it always obeys. Remember, persistence is not measured in time, but in consistency. One moment of unwavering belief outweighs 1,000 moments of doubt. Each time you return to your inner truth, you strengthen your creative bridge. Keep walking it. Keep speaking your new story. Let your inner voice become the voice of your fulfilled self, and soon the world will echo it back to you in perfect harmony. For creation is not a battle, it is remembrance. You are only remembering who you already are. You are remembering that your word is law, your imagination is power, and your persistence is the key. The outer world has no choice but to yield to the one who persists within. So persist until the invisible becomes visible, until your inner word becomes flesh, until the conversation of your heart becomes the song of your world. Persist, and you will prove that consciousness creates reality. For persistence in the inner conversation is persistence in creation itself.